I know you know what you do to me. I'm a fiend.
Go ahead and get right into it. The first thing that you're gonna need are some nail tips. This is optional, but I just got them from the local beauty supply store for really cheap. Next, I'm going to be using this nail drill set. You do not need to use this. It was not worth it, but I already had it, so I used it. Next, I have this old makeup brush, and I'm going to be using this to wipe off any excess powder. Next, you're going to need some nail glue. This is only if you're going to use tips. If you're not, don't worry about it. Next, you're going to need some type of nail file. This nail file I have has 2 different grits, and it's also washable, and I love it. So next, I just have some cuticle clippers. You do not need to use them. That's completely optional. So today I'm going to be doing a white set. So I have the Kiss color powder in the color All Hell, which is just a white color powder. And with this one, it only comes with the powder, but that's okay because I already have the other things that I need, like the base coat and the activator. Next, I have this little plastic container, which is where you pour the color powder in there and dip your nail from there, but that's completely optional. You do not need that. Lastly, I have the activator, which is what I was talking about, which actually hardens the nail after you dip it so you're able to file it. And of course, I have a top coat. So now we're just going to take a cotton ball with regular nail polish remover, and we're just doing this to get all the dirt and dust off our nails before we start. So now I'm just going to size the tips on my fingers to see which ones need to go on which finger. And when I'm doing this, I'm making sure that when I lay them out, I'm laying them out in the order that they're going to go on my fingers. This makes it really easy so you don't lose track of which ones you size for which finger. Alright, so now we're just going to go ahead and glue the nail tips down. And with this, I'm not putting too much glue, but I'm putting just enough glue, just as much as I need on there. And I'm also pressing them down in the center, but I'm not forgetting about pressing them down on the sides. You need to make sure you press them down on the sides so they're secure. So here I'm just checking to see if I have them where I want them and if they're straight. Now I'm going to be cutting the tips. And so with this, you don't want to cut them too low. You want to cut them a little bit longer than you actually want them, just so you can file them down and have room to file them down and they don't get too short. So now that I have them how I want them, I'm going to go ahead and take this nail file and I'm going to get the dome shaped file, and I'm going to go ahead and file the tips and my real nail. So where they join together, I'm going to file that and make sure it is completely smooth. So throughout me filing the nails, I'm going to go ahead and keep swiping my nails down because I want to feel where I have it smooth and where I don't, and where I need to go back and file again. So now I'm just going to go ahead and shape my nails how I want them. I'm going to do a really natural set. And also when I'm filing, I'm making sure that I don't stay in one spot too long so that they're really nice and blended. And I'm also making sure that they're the same length on each hand. So now that I have the tips how I want them, I'm going to go ahead and take the color powder and I'm going to open that up and pour it in the container. So now that I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and take the base coat and I'm going to apply that where the natural nail and the tip meet and do one layer of that. So when you're dipping your nail, you want to take your time dipping it. If you rush and dip it in there, Like, do it too fast, it's going to mess up and it is going to show. Trust me, it will show. So take your time when you do it and don't rush. We in quarantine season, baby. Where you going anyways? Throughout me dipping my nails, you're going to see me tapping my nails slightly, and that's just to get a little bit of the excess powder off before I go in with the brush. But I'm letting the powder sit on my nail for a little bit before I go in with the brush so it doesn't smudge. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the whole nail, and I'm not going all the way to the cuticle because then it's not going to blend nicely, but if you want to you can. It doesn't really make that much of a difference. When you're doing this, you also want to make sure that you do not get any of the base coat on your skin, because when you go to dip it and put the activator on it, it will stick and it'll be very hard to get off. Another tip is when you're applying the base coat, you want to make sure that you get the whole surface of your nail. You don't want to miss any corners, any sides, because literally the base coat is where your powder is going to be. So if you don't apply it on the whole nail, the color will not be on your whole nail. So make sure you take your time and you actually get the size of your nails. So now I'm just taking this brush and I'm dusting off any excess powder so I can go ahead and do my next coat. Another really important tip is that when you're doing these base coats, you want to make sure that you're not applying a thick layer. You want to apply a nice, thin, even layer. If you do apply a thick layer, it will be bulky and it will get messy really fast. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep repeating the steps until I feel like I have the color I want. It's really up to your liking, but I want it really white, so I'm going to keep going. So I'm just going to go ahead and take a toothpick and I'm going to use this to go around the edges of my nail and see where the powder has stuck to my skin and kind of pick it off before I go ahead and put the activator on there. So now that I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and pour the powder that I didn't use back into the container. And let me tell you, I'm finna get my coins worth. It is quarantine season. I'm gonna need to do my nails again. I'm not running out of nothing, okay? So yes, I will be putting this right back into the container. So now that I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and take the activator and I'm going to apply that all over my nail so that it can harden and I can go ahead and start to file. You want to put a generous amount. You don't want to put too little because it will not harden. And when you go to file, it will start to chip off a little bit. So now I'm going to go ahead and take my nail file and I'm taking the hardest side of the nail file to shape my nail, and I'm still following the same rules I did when I just applied the tips. Make sure you're moving around the nail, not staying in one spot so they are smooth and even. So now I'm going to take the softer side of the file and I'm going to kind of buff my nail. You don't want to do this too hard, and you also don't want to use a hard file for this because it will start to chip at the nail, especially if you didn't put enough activator. So make sure you're using the soft side and you're also not doing it too rough. So now that I feel like I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and take my nail drill again. I'm going to go in with a softer tip this time, and I'm just going over the nail, making sure that it's really smooth and it's how I want it. So now that I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and take a smaller tip, and I'm going to use this to get to the cuticle areas where I missed with the bigger one, and I'm also going to use this to get a little bit of that extra powder that I might have gotten on my cuticle area off. So now that we're done, this is how they look. I'm going to clean up, and now we're going to apply the top coat. So this is the final product. I really like them. They're not perfect, but they're good enough for me until the nail shops open back up. So I'm happy with them. If y'all like this video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what y'all want to see next. Bye, y'all.
They don't own shoes. What about that? This ain't that. What about that? Well,